Tonight on the Pioneer Sideline, saying goodbye. Several members of the Point Park men's and women's basketball teams played the final game of their careers on Saturday. How did the teams fare?
Fly, Eagles, fly. Super Bowl 52 took place this weekend, and it wasn't the commercials that stole the show. Our reporters will recap the game and look at what's going on regionally in the sports world.
And on to the next. The NFL regular season has come to an end, as well as the postseason, but what are some rule changes ahead for next season? We'll debate.
It's time to come on down to the Pioneer Sideline.
Good evening and welcome to the Pioneer Sideline. I'm Josh Croup.
And I'm Sarah Maculin.
The men's basketball team played its final home game of the season at CCAC Allegheny on Saturday against Ohio Christian University.
And that meant it was time to honor this year's seniors. A three-man group that includes Gavin Rajapale, Fusini Kanate, and Rashawn Roberts.
All three seniors were honored at halftime before the game, greeted by families and friends proud of their accomplishments.
But despite getting off to a strong start, Point Park could not get the win on Senior Day, falling to Ohio Christian 97-81.
Let's check out how it happened and roll some highlights from Senior Day. Point Park and Ohio Christian and River State's Conference East Division matchup played at CCAC Allegheny. Like we said, the final home game between the two squads this season. Point Park came into the game still winless on the 2018 calendar year. Rashawn Roberts, Gavin, Fusini Kanate all getting introduced before the game. It was a nice ceremony. Athletic Director Dan Swalga there on your screen. Like you said, Sarah, a hot start. Here's how it happened early first. Daniel King, a sophomore, in transition, hits a three. Very next Point Park possession, they have the lead. This never happens. Fusini Kanate gets a great dish from Gavin Rajapale, slams it home. He picked up his 7th double-double of this season. Later in this great run to start the first, Daniel King got a strike again, gets the underhand pass from Asim Plays, puts down the three. Point Park up by 11, but oh man, this is whenever Jalen Hearn catches fire, and he's one player on OCU you don't want to get hot. Hits a three there. Now this gives Ohio Christian the lead. He wasn't done. Eventually, look at this defense. They let him wide open, waiting in the corner for this. He had 27 points, 6 three-pointers. That capped off our 31-12 run in the first half. Started by Point Park's 20-9 run, so they couldn't hang on. OCU went up to win 97-81. They're still winless, Sarah, on 2018, and Point Park has dropped now 11 straight games going back to Pearl Harbor Day. It has been a rough stretch of games.
Yeah, definitely. And to discuss that and more on how the team fared this weekend and what the rest of the season looks like, we bring in Taylor Spirito.
Taylor, thank you so much for joining us. How does a team continue to keep its heads up high? Because these guys are doing it. They know that they're the underdogs in every game. How do they approach games whenever they know that they're the underdog?
I think it's all just in a mental state. I mean, obviously, they haven't been winning, like you said, 11 straight games without a win. And the fact that they had that lead in the first 7 minutes of the game against Ohio Christian really shows that they were starting to get into that mental state, but they dropped it, and they dropped the game, obviously, 97-81, which isn't that bad of a loss for them, but they could do better, and it's, again, all about that mentality that they have.
So we talked about it being Senior Day and losing Fusini Kanate, Rashawn Roberts, who's a transfer, and Gavin Rajapale. What do losing these three players mean for the Point Park Pioneers looking towards next season?
These three players have stepped it up for this season. I mean, Fusini Kanate has been an absolute force to be reckoned with, and the other two have stepped up greatly. So just with these other players, they have to take what they've learned from them and kind of mimic what they've done for this team, you know, to give them a fighting chance next season. Daniel King is a good example. Like you said, he's a sophomore, and he's been absolutely killing it. So I expect him to start stepping up, start filling in that role that Fusini Kanate had.
the biggest thing this team needs is not rebounders. They need that, but they need to get the grades. So going into next season, of course, the grade book is going to be a focus, but something on the court that you're looking at for this team. We're not already writing this season off because mathematically they're not eliminated yet. They still got to win tonight at Carlo. They can do that, but what's maybe one thing you're looking at to end this season and maybe take into next year, despite even losing these 3 starters?
Again, it's all about the mental state, but just on the court, they've been doing really well with free throws and turnovers. They just need to start getting even 3-pointers. Like, that would be a good start. Just getting that solidified and then starting to work on the next. That would be something that's not necessarily simple, but something that they could work on a lot. That could get them that start that they need.
I'm glad you mentioned turnovers because the defense on this team has been pretty outstanding this season, and hopefully that is something that continues moving forward. Thank you so much, Taylor. Now, Sarah, Saturday wasn't just senior day, it was also a very special day for the men's basketball program.
That's right. It was the 50th anniversary celebration for the program that began in the 1967-68 school year.
Alumni from each decade came back for the celebration, including Hall of Famers and a member of the original team, all of whom were honored at halftime.
Let's check out a brief recap of the festivities.
What an outstanding day that was, and the highlight of my day was talking to the legendary head coach, Jerry Convoy. He was here for 20 years, and he said, this program means so much to me. And you can see it in these guys, how much basketball meant to them. They may not have had all of the wins in the world, like this team right here. They're not going to have all the wins, but they'll have these memories forever, and that was outstanding to see Saturday.
Yeah, no, it was great. We both were there. It was a nice thing to see, nice thing to be a part of, and I think it was especially important the fact that even though they weren't there to celebrate a team that's doing well this season, it's something that can give these guys something to look forward to next season. They see the success and how dedicated these past players are to this program, and they want to kind of that should give them motivation to want to do well for the school.
And hopefully they can do that. It's a big family here, and what a great Saturday it was despite the loss. Well, we'll wrap up men's basketball, and coming up after the break, it was also senior day for the women's basketball team.
Find out which seniors were honored Saturday and how the women did in their matchup against RSC East Divisional opponent, Ohio Christian University. All that and more next.
You, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be me too. If I was you, I'd wanna be me too. I'd wanna be.
Spending just 7 minutes climbing stairs each day cuts your risk of a heart attack in half over 10 years. Sure, elevators are convenient, but you burn twice the number of calories just going upstairs than you do while jogging. Think about how long you spend waiting for elevators. The average person spends the equivalent of 2 years waiting for elevators over the course of their lifetime. Don't let that be you. Save time and increase energy. Next time, take the stairs.
Let's go. Ow.
4, 3. Sideline! Welcome back. The women's basketball team has had a strong 2018 thus far and has won 5 of its last 6 games.
Yeah, Sarah, they're on a roll. They added win number 14 on the year Saturday against Ohio Christian.
But before the game began, 7 seniors were honored for their careers here at Point Park. The senior class included Bailey Bulika, Shania Rivers, Marissa Agers, Nikki Corcoran, Angelina Starr, Kiana Daly, and Sam Weir.
What a class. The Pioneers now sit in 3rd place in the River States Conference East Division behind Rio Grande and IU East, with West Virginia Tech right there with them, the latter of which being IU East put Point Park away with a heartbreaking loss. It happened during our last show, Sarah. Let's see the ending of that game. We need to just dive right in with this because it was a heartbreaker. Once we recap IU East, then we'll get into Senior Day. IU East last week, this day, it's tied at 94 or 92. Mackenzie Campbell hits 2 free throws, and then Sam Weir tries to get it to Marissa Agers, coughs it up to Tia King. She gets the steal and takes it the entire way. Now, Point Park, there's still time. That happened with 20 seconds left. Shania Rivers, the ball gets knocked out. Michelle Burns drives baseline, but she steps out. Point Park couldn't score anyways. IU East escapes with a 98-94 win. Point Park had the lead going into the final second, so you need to wash off that loss. Let's go into Senior Day. Like you said, 7 different seniors, and this one was a different story. Compared to IU East, Sarah, we start with the freshman, Michelle Burns. Outside puts Point Park up by 9 here early. Later, Burns again is going to get a pass from a senior. Marissa Agers gets a screen from another one. Sam Weir banks it off the glass. Another 3 from downtown. She had the Point Park Pioneers up by 12 at the half. She wasn't done. A nice cross-court pass to Bailey Bulika, who gets it right back to the freshman. What a day that Michelle Burns had on Senior Day. The freshman finished with 25. That was 2 off a season high. Point Park wins by 31 on Senior Day, 78-47. The Pioneers forced 31 turnovers. That tied them for a season high in conference games behind a 31 turnover effort a couple weekends ago. It was an incredible game. The Pioneers defense got a lot of time and a lot of work on that court.
Oh yeah, the turnovers were phenomenal. I mean, they struggled to rebound in the first half, but then we just saw a completely different team in the second half just continuing their lead. And to discuss this and more, we're bringing in Allison Schubert.
Allison, this was an outstanding game, and this is an outstanding senior class. Let's first talk about the senior class. What did Tony Grenick have to say about these seniors? And half the roster is seniors. There's 14 of them. 7 of them are seniors. They're going to be deeply missed.
Yeah, for sure. Tony Grenick was saying how before the game he was in the locker room and he said, basketball aside, I just want you to know what a great group of young ladies that you are and what phenomenal people they are. And he really has emphasized that his entire career, not just the basketball side of things, but also the personal side of things. So this group I know has been really special to him, and especially Shania Rivers, who has been his captain. They went 2 seasons without a captain, and then Shania, he speaks very, very highly of her and all the girls, so they're going to for sure be missed.
So we move on to the seniors into the game. So how much do you think Senior Day kind of helped motivate them and produce the outcome that they had with Ohio Christian and that big victory coming off the loss?
I mean, being honored always makes you feel good, and they definitely took that to the court. They scored combined 38 points with all of their seniors, so that was a great effort by them and a great effort towards that game and just a great win to take home, and that's going to be a memory that they get to carry on for the rest of their lives.
Finally, we mentioned Michelle Burns a lot during that highlight. What has she meant to this team so far this season? And with only road games left, how does she expect to contribute to this squad moving forward?
Well, she has been a phenomenal asset to this team the entire season. She was a great player in high school, and she's definitely carried that over onto the college court. And with Shania Rivers and Marissa Agers leaving with this senior squad, she's definitely going to be a great, great point guard for this team moving forward. And she's already shown her leadership skills so far, and that can only be increased from here.
Exciting stuff. Thanks a lot, Allison. Coming up next, were the New England Patriots able to pull off another Super Bowl victory?
And how is the playoff picture looking right now for the Pittsburgh Penguins? Our reporters have all that and more after the break.
T. Why should you watch and focus?
Because, why not?
Turd. Why should you watch and focus?
Because I produce it.
Welcome to In Focus.
Hello. This is so we don't run out of time.
Put up a goal just because it.
And a little bit closer, please. Let me bring this in. Yeah, I wanted to do a game. So
Game time. All right. Game over.
Yay.
Oh, wow. Did we get that? There he is. Why do you watch and focus? Because in focus is great. Chris! Game time! Game time! It's not game time. It's a promo.
Start your morning with us. I'm your host, Jess Paterchek.
And I'm your host, Alex Grubbs.
Good morning and welcome to another episode
That is what
of
happened at the
Daybreak. I'm your
Cathedral
host,
on
Jess
Monday.
The state wants to
This
take
was Monday.
$357 million out of a trust fund that is typically
wintry mixed stuff could get me.
I'm gonna care for you.
What up? The diva himself. Only on Daybreak.
55% of all U.S. multiracial adults have been subjected to racial slurs or jokes.
Where were you born? Being smart, pale, to Filipino, to go back to Mexico.
There goes that black boy over there. You like fried chicken because you're light skinned. You are a cop. You think that you're better than us. The N-word.
Really good at jumping or climbing. Border hopper. Made taco. English your second language. Where's your green card?
Cut the jokes. Stop the stereotypes.
Welcome back. The Philadelphia Eagles and New England Patriots faced off in Super Bowl 52 on Sunday in a rematch of Super Bowl 39.
Were the Eagles able to secure the upset, or did the Patriots get their 6th Vince Lombardi trophy? Our reporter Aaron Becker has the details. Aaron?
Thanks, Josh and Sarah. The underdogs are now the top dogs of the NFL. On Super Bowl Sunday, the Philadelphia Eagles pulled off one of the biggest upsets in Super Bowl history as they defeated the New England Patriots 41-33. The game started out with both teams exchanging field goals after the defense made goal line stands. However, it didn't turn out to be a defensive game at all. Both teams combined for a postseason record 1,151 yards, and the Eagles flew high as Super Bowl 52 MVP Nick Foles threw for 373 yards and 3 touchdowns, complemented with a strong running attack led by LeGarrette Blount, a former 2-time Super Bowl champion with the Patriots. The Eagles took a play out of the Patriots' playbook to end the first half as tight end Trey Burton threw a touchdown pass to Nick Foles. Tom Brady dropped a similar pass from wide receiver Danny Amendola on a 3rd down earlier in the game. The Patriots came out hot to start the second half. Tom Brady, who threw for 505 yards and 3 touchdowns in the game, looked at tight end Rob Gronkowski multiple times as he only had 1 catch for 9 yards in the first half. Gronkowski finished the game with 116 yards and 2 touchdowns, along with Danny Amendola and Chris Hogan, who both had over 100 receiving yards as well. The Eagles took a 38-33 lead with 2 minutes and 21 seconds remaining in the game after tight end Zach Ertz caught a touchdown that could have been controversial if called back, but it was starting to feel like a typical Tom Brady comeback. There hadn't been a single sack in the game until defensive end Brandon Graham got to Tom Brady and forced a fumble. After an Eagles field goal, Tom Brady and the Patriots offense took over at their own 9-yard line with 58 seconds remaining and no timeouts. The Eagles defense protected the deep ball and forced an incomplete pass to Rob Gronkowski on the final play to end the game, winning their first ever Lombardi Trophy.
That was such a great game to watch. Thank you, Aaron, but at halftime, that's what a lot of people were talking about the most on Tuesday and Monday. What were your thoughts on Justin Timberlake?
Yeah, I mean, coming into the game, I was a little skeptical, a little excited. I'm a fan of Justin Timberlake, but I like him better as an actor rather than a singer.
Oh, okay.
So I like when they go old school, but I thought it was good. I mean, a lot of people were controversial with him bringing the Prince tribute, but I mean, the last time a Super Bowl was held in Minneapolis, Prince was the halftime show, so I understood the tribute to it.
Yeah, I wasn't crazy about it, but that's all I'll say about JT. Now let's switch gears from football to hockey, where the playoff picture is beginning to form.
Our reporter Nick Kosiski is here with what's happening locally in sports. Nick?
Thanks, Josh and Sarah. Believable, seasonal, this news is regional. Let's start this conversation and break the ice by talking about the Pens. Ballpoint pens are now... Oh, wait. I was supposed to talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins. Right. The Pittsburgh Penguins are ranked 3rd in their standings under the Metropolitan Division, falling behind the New Jersey Devils by only 1 point and falling behind the Washington Capitals by 4 points. Looking at the standings from a conference standpoint, the Penguins currently place 6th. Now, if the playoffs started right now, the Penguins would be in, facing off against the Devils. But the playoffs aren't here yet. There's still a lot of playing time left and a lot of changes that can occur. Like my favorite Gatorade flavor, things are already changing, with forward Connor Sherry being put on injured reserve. Taking his position on the ice will be Zach Ashton-Reese. Goaltender Tristan Jarry also got recalled, sending Casey DeSmith back to the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. Now, let's jump ship and talk about the Pirates, who will begin spring training in about a week. This spring training marks the 50th year of the Pirates playing in Bradenton. However, the Buccos will be heading into spring training with a lot of questions and holes to fill. With the loss of Andrew McCutchen to the San Francisco Giants and Garrett Cole to the Houston Astros, Pirates fans still remain curious on how the MLB season will start and play out. Like my mixtape just ended, we will go back to the first song, or should I say first topic. Because did I mention that the Pittsburgh Penguins will be facing off against the Las Vegas Golden Knights, the new home of ex-Pens such as Marc-Andre Fleury, James Neal, David Perron, and Derek England? Fleury will return home for the first time in a different uniform as the Penguins reunite with former teammates in tonight's battle. The story is in the iceberg. Which team will be the King Arthur tonight and have it released? I'm about to find out. Hat? Jersey? Game time!
He's legitimately leaving to go to the game.
Right, yeah, I know a lot of us wish we were going there with how important Fleury has been in this season. But, I mean, it's definitely going to be a big game tonight.
Oh, holy moly. I can't wait to see the results. And, Nick, enjoy yourself. While he heads off to the game, we still have a case to debate here on the Pioneer Sideline.
Coming up next, head-to-head contact. Was that a catch? We've heard it all this football season. Should these rules be taken a look at in the offseason?
Our reporters will debate next.
One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.
What's one word to describe CAB?
Welcoming.
Community.
Creative.
Experiences.
Family.
Openness.
Pineapple.
The Campus Activities Board is a student-run organization that consists of 7 different committees. Each focuses on event planning, marketing, and administrative activities. Join us in organizing the juiciest events on campus, from late-night bingo to festive dances to our team bonding meetings. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Point Park Cap, or like us on Facebook at Campus Activities Board at Point Park University.
Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. I'm Josh Troop alongside Jess Paterchak.
Defending his decision to kick out 15 Cuban diplomats from the United States.
Thanks, Allison. Fitness on Demand has returned to Point Park.
Residents fear that Mount Agung will have a repeat of 1963's eruption.
2-star NFL quarterbacks made the headlines this week after wrapping up.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. That's your news tonight. For Nick Tomarello, I'm Alex Grubbs. Have a great night.
Welcome back. Like any football season, this year the NFL had its fair share of injuries, a lot more than in past years, but are concussions coming far too often?
And it seems like no one is happy with the referees nowadays. Should the NFL go through the rulebook with a fine-tooth comb this offseason?
Joining us in studio to see if we can survive the ground is Aaron Becker, Megan Masiosi, and Jeff Dockham. Guys, what one rule are you looking for the NFL to change this offseason? Aaron, let's start with you.
Well, you got to start with the catch rule.
Of course.
It's very complicated right now. All about keeping possession when falling to the ground, if he's a runner, when he crosses the plane. I really do believe if the receiver catches the football and crosses the plane of the end zone, I think it should be a touchdown. I think it should be very similar to the running back situation. They have the ball, they can dive, they don't even have to have their bodies in the end zone. As long as the ball crosses the line, it's a touchdown. So I think this rule is very complicated right now. I think it just needs to be simplified.
Yeah, that's a good rule too. But another one is the helmet to helmet, because you have hits that are technically legal, but then they get fined for them after the game. And there's certain situations like with the Gronk, like what did you want Jalen Ramsey to do? Just let him catch it and keep running? Right. He's either going to take out his knee or you got to take him out in the head area. So that's one rule I think that needs to be examined as well.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more with you both. Speaking of the catch rule, this dates all the way back to 2010 with Calvin Johnson. And that's where I really think this started. And then we saw the controversial Dez Bryant catch in the 2014 playoffs. And, of course, our beloved Jesse James against the Patriots. Do I think it was a catch? According to the rule book, it wasn't. But do I think it should be a catch? Absolutely. Absolutely. But in terms of speaking about that, when we're talking about the Hurts catch in the Eagles game, I don't believe that was a catch. He did not maintain possession after initial contact with the ground. If he did, it wouldn't have bobbled up in the air and he wouldn't have caught it.
You were talking about the game-winning touchdown there?
Against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I don't believe that was a catch currently due to the rules.
I think it was. Let's talk about that catch there, because he catches it initially with 1 foot on the 6, takes another step, becomes a runner. Once you get 2 feet down, you're a runner. Takes the third step as he's diving. So that dive came on the third step. That's why I think he becomes a runner. But if we make everybody a runner once they have possession of the football, that gets rid of the rule. So did anyone else agree with Jeff on that?
I mean, I agree with the idea that he was, in fact, I think he was a runner because of the amount of steps. He took more steps than Jesse James had took with his catch.
James's was not a catch.
But it's the idea that should he even have to take those steps for it to be a catch?
Yeah, and that's why this rule is so complicated right now. It really just needs to be simplified because these catches have big implications on these games. You look at the Jesse James catch. If that's a touchdown, the Steelers most likely win that game. They're the #1 seed, and who knows what's going to happen from there on out. Again, with the Zach Ertz touchdown, whether it was a touchdown or not, that's a field goal right there. Tom Brady might be Tom Brady, So these catches have big implications on these games, and it really just needs to be simplified. And like I said before, whether these receivers are runners or if they have possession when falling to the ground and making contact with the ground, it just really needs to be simplified fully.
Now, Aaron, you mentioned implications. So going back to kind of what Megan brought up with the helmet-to-helmet, these can have big implications. I mean, you saw when Gronk had that hit, he could have not played in this game, and he turned out to play a very big role in the Super Bowl, and then Brandon Cooks got knocked out in the first half. Had he played the rest of the game, we could have had a slightly different outcome. So what are your takes on that?
Well, with the Brandon Cooks hit, I think that was just bad timing. He completely did not see him coming at all. So that I would just chalk up to extremely bad timing. But with the Gronk hit, I mean, that's where it's so hard because you don't want him to hit the head area because with all the CT and everything we had seen. But you don't want him to take out his knee either because, I mean, I think it was Richard Sherman came out and said, what did you want him to do? I mean, he was at a loss for that. But then you have the hit like Juju Smith put on Perfect during our game, and I thought it was a completely legal hit. I mean, should he have been fined for the taunting? Yes, that was wrong. But it was completely legal. He hit him right in the chest. He just knocked him out. It was a good hit. So I think they need to look at it and say, if it's in this target zone, then it's a decent hit. But that starts from, like, when they're young, teaching them. Because everyone just teaches them, you just hit the head, you hit the knee. Like, that's how they're taught.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go next with that. This has got to start at amateur levels of playing. I know the younger players are starting to learn rugby-style tackling, which is really leading with your shoulders, preventing those head injuries. And so when they get to this higher level of play, it kind of stops these head injuries overall.
This debate and discussion could carry on forever. As we wrap up, I love that they changed the celebration rule last year.
Yeah.
That was
a good
great.
rule.
Let's continue to make progress. That'll do it for this week's episode here.
Be sure to join us next week at the same Pioneer time
The same Pioneer channel.
and the same Pioneer Sideline.